my stream just died and OBS reconnected me, which is nice, but I'm not sure why things just died. So hopefully I'm back live here in a little bit. I'll just kind of keep puttering around until folks tell me I'm good. Cool, yeah, Tesla saying I'm back. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I just noticed out of the corner of my eye that looks like I was dropping a whole ton of frames, and I don't know what happened. Usually my internet is pretty solid up here. There we go, yeah. So, yep, that less than equals was incorrect. So yeah, this is slamming them against the ground, or you can slam them against the floor or the ceiling, whatever you want. If you don't set it to attach to floor or ceiling, then it will just kind of preserve that Z offset relative to the ground. So I think that is okay behavior. So let me just go back to the info.dat and then just delete that line because we want it to attach to the wall at a specific Z offset. There we go. Play. Okay, refresh. Maybe. Did I save this? This stuff should hot load. But maybe it's not. Let me try rerunning the thing. Test and new dungeon theme. Play. Now it's always slamming them to the floor, and I don't know why. What did I do? Z attach floor. False. Oh yeah, because it defaults to true. Because that is the legacy behavior, and I don't want to break legacy stuff. There we go. There we go. Sorry, I had a. Hello? Can you not hear me? Like on my end, at least OBS is telling me I'm talking. Now for some reason my Twitch preview is gone. Cool. So it looks like some folks are hearing me and seeing me fine, and others are not. I'm sorry, folks. I'm not sure what's going on with my internet today. Okay, so cool. Those are placing as we expect. Also, it doesn't place this corner one because it would overlap, so that's good. What about in here? See, it's still placing here, even though this should collide, unless yep, it's a group. So if I ungroup this, yeah, something's just up with groups, and yeah, there we go. There we go. I thought I fixed this, but maybe I committed it to the main development branch and not to my little theme development branch here. But I thought I also merged those changes back in from the main development branch, but who knows? So yeah, so these are placing correctly. Again, right now they place at a very high frequency, like basically wherever they can be placed, they will place themselves. This is mostly just for testing purposes. When I actually when I like the final version will have a much lower percentage of spawn chance, and also there will be more variety. So planning on having windows and flags and other architectural bits to make the dungeon just more interesting. And I think that's the thing with procedural generation, is you always have to find a balance between like just enough detail. You don't want to have like just slap detail everywhere simply because you can, because then it looks strange. It's always a balancing act. Benjamin Landon says, is it possible to add knockback affecting yourself onto a scroll? So if you have the scroll create an explosion, the explosion knockback should affect you. Is that what you're asking? like weapons have knockback values, and magic spells have knockback values, but just like a scroll doesn't have a knockback value. That makes sense. Okay, so I think I'm going to start now looking into why the groups are misbehaving. So this is a group of two things. If you notice when I hit play, sometimes the window's boarded up and sometimes it has bars. And that's because this is a group of two objects. And I'll show you real quick. Right click, place entity, dungeon set, window, and then I can ungroup it. And then if I look at this, the outer window frame, it has just a mesh and a texture file, but the inner window frame, it has two mesh objects. And basically what that is they just have different UV coords, so they map to different different textures. That's the nice thing about Delver is you can specify multiple mesh files and multiple texture files, and it will randomly pick one of those at runtime. So if I add a second texture file here, I would get 4 variations. So it's kind of a cheap way to get some variety. And I think at the end of this too, I will create an alt texture for the entire dungeon area, so the assets kind of get a little bit more variety that way. Yeah, so let's look at groups and see why they are misbehaving. Also, let me just open up Sublime Text, and I'm just going to there we go. And I'm just going to paste this in because this one is working. So cut, paste. There we go. Then I want to just put back in. All I need to do is spawns. Let me see what it was. Yeah. So I can just discard the changes here and then pop back into the editor, and there we go. So this is back to the way it was, where it's spawning the window prefab out of the dungeon sets category. And I think it was goofing up a few things here. Yeah, the collision is strange. So yeah, so let me try to straighten some of that stuff out. So let's go over here to these entities. I think I needed to make the is this true. And then the X collision dimension is 0.5. Okay, play. So that collision looks fine. This collision is off by 90 degrees. Same with this one. And these are still offset. I think it's, wait, this is off. They seem to be all off by 90 degrees except for this one. That's weird. Yeah. I think I tried manually flipping these, and I think it just, again, it fixes it in some cases and breaks it in another. So I think it might be the actual code that we are, how we handle basically, this one seems correct. The process of ungrouping, yeah, this one's not correct now. Yeah, so there's something wrong with how we are handling the ungrouping of entities. That's fine, but still has a weird offset. These are not fine. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so the bounding box does not rotate. I wonder if this is just true of. So no, like it's a bit strange. So let me add entity dungeon sets window. Let me ungroup this. Then let me kind of just pull this one out here and then delete this one because this one doesn't have any collision on it. But this one should. And if I turn on, you can go view toggle bounding boxes. Let's just set up the bounding box correctly. The bounding box is an axis aligned bounding box. So what that means, let me just pull this over here by itself, is these x, y, and z chords correspond to the actual global x, y, z. So if I were to rotate this on the z, it has no effect on the actual bounding box. So what you need to do, I think the T key will work. The T key, because we're turning at 90, we know how to translate that. So I need to figure out what's going on. Because it seems like when we rotate the meshes programmatically, it works, but rotating the groups does not. Let's get the level.java, and let's go back to wherever this is used. I think it's further up here. The Great Wall, yes, up here. So you got the rotation. Do I do the rotation here? Yeah, so this is just lifted, so yeah, I just lifted this from Chad's other spot. So basically, I overloaded this decorate wall with. There's two versions of that. So let me kind of see if I can compare and contrast. So let's go back to this info.dat. Let me put in the model and see how we handle the actual rotating of the model, because the model works, but the prefab does not. Okay, so debug and take a look. Levels, test, dungeon theme, load. They should pop up over here, but it doesn't really matter. We're just looking at code anyways. Okay, so the direction is north. So if the direction is north, so this sprite is really a model. I might refactor this real quick just so it says entity and not sprite, but whatever. So its collision is 0.49065. Let me clear all my watches. Let's create a new watch. It's going to be sprite.collision. I want to see how this behaves when we rotate it. So it's north. So that actually doesn't do anything. So casting it to a directional entity doesn't really seem to matter. This extra rote. Oh, so maybe this is the thing that's. Well, let's see. This might be what does it. So there's no extra rotation here, so we skip it. Yeah, so that didn't change the bounding box. Okay. What's this? So I think north is not going to be interesting because I think that's the way it's just it's already aligned. So this direction is west. Okay, there we go. So we're going to be rotating it 270 degrees. So it is a directional entity. The extra rote is 270. Then yeah, so here we rotate 90 reverse. Let's step into here and see what happens. So this is directional entity. Let's step into here. Oh, so yeah, so this is where we're actually updating the collision. Okay, this is an entity.java. Yeah, because the rotate 90, we can actually do that. So interesting. So I think the prefab is not it does not inherit from directional entity. So it's probably why we're not actually doing that. Which is what my guess would be. So what is the correct thing to do? Because that's my guess. And so then here we're just going to rotate it 90 degrees for every 90 degrees we need to rotate it. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure this is what's failing. Yeah, so let's we've seen how that works with a model. Let's see how that works with a prefab. Doing a little investigation work here. So here's our prefab again. Let's debug and let's see what it does. Just load. Plate. So direction north. North is not super interesting. Direction. I think direction is still north. Yeah, let's go one more time. So direction is east. Cool. Yep, so we're going to rotate at least 90 degrees. So if it's a directional, it is not instance of directional entity. Sprite is a prefab. I think. Should we still try to rotate it if it's a prefab? Inherits from group, which inherits from directional entity. Weird. So that should work then. Let me copy this and just paste it into the watch down here below and see what it says. Yeah, so prefab is an instance of directional entity. So F8, 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 F7, 7. So I wonder if I ought to if it's a group, should I go through each individual item and do this? Is that the correct thing to do on this rotate 90? Have a rotate 90 that is for a group? I don't know. I might have to ping chat on this to see what the correct logic is here. I think. Yeah, I'll have to talk to Chad because I'm not quite sure. Like since he wrote this, he knows all the places to look to make sure I'm not breaking the world. Generally, the small changes I can affect pretty quickly, but this stuff would probably take me a little bit more thinking. Yeah, because the group itself has a collision box, but that's just arbitrary. It's just a default value here. So changing the collision dimensions on that doesn't seem to make sense. Does group have a rotate 90 already? Rotate. So it looks like it handles something on the init. Looks like it does have a special rotate 90. Let me see what this is doing. I think the let me see. Javier says the group every object is placed relative to common origin. Yep. I think that might be it might be possible. Again, I'd have to talk to Chad, but I think this might be it. Let's see what's going on here. So F9. Yeah, so this is a This is a group. What is this? It's a prefab group. Yep, it's the window prefab group. It has there's a prefab with a group. Okay, so let's see what this is doing. Our prefabs are groups. Interesting. Okay. Step into here. This is the prefab rotate 90. So update drawable. And super rotate 90. So this is the group rotate 90. So for all my entities, yeah, this would have to like recurse. For entity E in entities and for entity. Yeah, then it does the recursive rotation. This is group, rotate 90. This is the model. So it seems to be like the logic should be trying to do this. So the model is E dot collision. So it should be changing the X and the Y coords. What it ought to do, I believe. Okay, so it's temporary rotation vector 0, 0, 0. Interesting. Rot.z is 90. Let me see. Untrusted Life says I've had some buffering. Hopefully it's fixed now. Yeah, I haven't dropped any frames, so it might be on your end or Twitch's end. Not quite sure. Yeah, so it didn't rotate. E.Z. Yeah. Temporary rotation is just delta X, delta Y, delta Z of the entity and its parent. Oh, but the collision, so on the actual entity itself, this rotate 90 is where we actually change the collision? But we're not doing it here in group. But maybe this should handle it because this is the model rotate, I believe. So model F7, 7, collision X 065, collision Y 05. So this should have flipped it. Should have. Then we're hard coding the rotate. Oh yeah, so yeah. So this is that's fine. I mean, so it looks like it ought to be doing it correctly, but it's not. Again, I had the feeling that some of these will be correct. Like this, I think this is the east one. I think that's correct. This the north one is not correct. And it's even blocking off this hallway, which is not great. The south one, yeah, is not correct. So the west and the east seem to be rotating okay, except for why is it? Oh, it should be slamming up against the wall there. I'm not sure why. Again, that's messed up. West and the east seem to be behaving okay. The north and the south ones are broken. I'm not sure. Sometimes going into debug mode really messes things up. There we go. This should be okay. This should be broken. Yeah, so that... Another little piece of data to try to puzzle over. Debugging recursive math isn't so bad. Okay, cool. So let me just... I might just kind of put a pause on things for now. But I think there are some changes I want to make sure get into develop. So let me look. So like this change here, I think is good. And I think the GenInfo change, this change is also good. Just for the general development branch, not just for my particular branch. I'm sure. I think debugging recursive methods all depends on like how clear things how clear the code is written. But it's just, I mean, it's just a normal part of development life. But yeah, if you're dealing stuff with like really abstract names and it's not clear why things are recursing, then yeah, it can be a pain. Okay, so don't want to pull these in, but I do want to pull those in. How to do this? Can I just switch over to development? Yeah, it's not gonna like that. I don't want to merge in my new dungeon theme branch just quite yet. I guess I could just manually affect these changes and that would be all right. Work on GenInfo wall placement. So I'll just commit to my branch here, and I can flip over to develop. Then on my second screen here, I'll just pull open this change I just made, so I can kind of just look at the changes I made and just copy and paste them over, because it's pretty small. It's not really that big of a deal to do it manually. Dungeon theme, my commits. Yeah, no, I coded for several years in C++. I used to work for both Lexmark and Microsoft as a software engineer. I do like C++. There are some things that are nice about it, but the thing I don't necessarily like about it is it just takes a lot of effort to get a little bit of work done. Like I like Java's relatively fast. I guess it depends what you're doing, I suppose. I can't just make blanket statements like that. Just develop. Let me go back to my new dungeon. Why am I not seeing my thing I just committed? New dungeon. Why did you not sync? Yeah, having source control is nice. Again, because it's nice to have a copy of something saved somewhere. So like if your computer crashes, like your project isn't gone. It's nice to coordinate with different multiple people on a team. It's also nice too because I have a Windows and Mac machine, and I don't want to like have to copy source back and forth. It's easier just to work on it that way. Cool. So we're in the development branch here. And I want to open up two classes. I want to open up level. I want to open up GenInfo. So for level, real quickly, just copy this out of the GitHub, and then I need to clean it up because GitHub likes to put these these pluses on in front of stuff. There we go. Did I do something weird with the? Oh, got rid of some of that white space. There we go. That's probably the way to do it. Let's copy that. This needs to go around line 1284, looks like, or 1273. 1273. Yeah, it's the right after this entities intersect. I'm adding this entity contained in tile. Then I use it up here. There we go. Copy, and this needs to go on line. Looks like 1263. Yeah, so this is checking if we can actually. This is the decorate wall width, and we're just doing some checks just to make sure we're not overlapping, and we also don't want to place it outside the level, so don't do that. And my other change up here was honoring this new property I added on the GenInfo object. Just clean that up again real quick. That should go line 701-ish. Yeah, so I think I put it right before. Yeah, it basically replaces this line here. Attached floor. Yep, that's fine. I need to go to GenInfo and I need to add that property. Yeah, that's all that is. So let's go to GenInfo. Attached wall, and actually let's just do the attach floor. That defaults to true to preserve legacy behavior. I think that's it. Yeah, that should be correct. Let me just run delve edit. We're not going to see any of this. I could at least see if I'm. Ooh, what's? Interesting. I haven't rebuilt develop in a while. I don't know if that's it, or maybe Chad's made some changes. I don't think, did I introduce that line? I did not introduce that line, but it's barfing on it. Let me just look at the raw version on the my other screen here. It's in Dungeon Generator. Okay, so corrupt. Sorry, go back to my main repo. Java. What folder does this live in? Engineer Generator. Right, I'm trying to figure out why this is broken. Does this live? Com interrupt engineer. Force cups here. Dungeon generator. There we go. That's not here. Local history. Sure. So apparently I added that. I don't recall adding that. No, apparently I didn't add that. Let me just remove that and not commit it and see what happens. Maybe it's something that shed. Maybe. What? Yeah, so I need to investigate why that was included and if that was intentional or not. But I think I'm just about out of time. Let me see. So yeah, let me see. So just still chatting about source control. Yeah, I use GitHub for everything, even for Unity. There are some settings you have to do for Unity to make it play nicely. But yeah, I've used Git for a number of years now, and I like it just fine. Let me see. All right, so yeah, I got to run off and go to a multi-kid birthday party, which is going to be it's going to be something. But I want to thank everybody for showing up today. I really look forward to Sundays and hanging out with you and showing you my development work on Delver and talking about the thing I'm thinking about, and we're working on the things that are kind of important to me right now. Thank you for also buying the game if you have. That directly financially supports me, which is which is important because I like to eat and I like to have a roof above my head. So thank you for that. You can follow me on Twitter at Joshua Skelly. I've been trying to do better about bonus streams. So these past 2 weeks, I've done a bonus stream sometime throughout midweek. So if you want to be, I guess, know when those happen, because they kind of happen just at random. You can follow me here on Twitch or on Twitter, and you'll get a little notification when I go live, or at least I'll tweet about it. I think what else? Any other points of info? Again, you can follow Delver at Delver Game on Twitter. There's the delvergame.com. We also have Delver Game Official on Facebook, if that's your thing. I keep meaning to do more with the Facebook page, but I don't, so I apologize for that. Again, thank you all for your support, and I will see you probably sometime throughout the week. So have a good week, everybody.